How's it going, guys? So today we're going to be talking about the BMW E39 reliability. Now this is going to pertain mostly to 525, 528, and 530i's. We'll touch a little bit on 540i's. So I thought, well, we're doing reliability videos on all the cars. People want to see that. It's good for the channel. Okay. We're down to doing the E39 stuff, which I have two of those here. As you know, I own two E39s. And we're down to the E60 to be the next video, more than likely. We got to put something out for everybody, because not everybody owns a certain car, right? So anyhow, I thought, what a better time to do this than when we had this thing all apart. And when I mean all apart, I mean all apart, if you know what I mean. So this car has 150,000 miles on it. Can a E39 be reliable in 2019? It can. I have a reliable E39 in 2019, but it didn't come easily. This one, where E39 has 272 or 275,000 miles on it. This gem here has 150, and you can see we got all kinds of stuff. We have the factory projector headlights. We have HIDs from the factory. So we're going to start off with that. The very first thing is the adjusters. These adjusters are bad. I'm going to be doing a video on these adjusters pretty soon. I'm going to show you how to change those without taking the lens off, without baking them. I think a lot of you guys will want to see that. That's the first thing. That's going to keep you from driving this car at nighttime. And let's be honest, right now, your average E39 that's broken is anywhere from $500 to $2,000 in a broken state. One that runs fine, if those do exist right now, because people don't take care of them, I would say $2,000 up to $5,000 right now. The price is spiking through the roof. As time goes on, there's getting to be fewer and fewer and fewer of these bad boys. And these really are good cars. These are cheap cars to work on, cheap cars to buy parts for. And this is my favorite BMW. I'll be honest, this is my favorite BMW. Not this particular one, but the E39 chassis. There's a few other things. A lot of issues with these air boxes. And these are the fresh air boxes. If these don't fit tire, they got holes in them like that. That's another issue. It's going to make it real tough to drive. Another issue is the fan. And this is more crucial than anything else, because this will make the engine overheat. On these cars, the fans have a tendency to burn out. They have a little resistor pack on that burns out. The plug could be corroded. It goes up into the fuse box of the car. There's 2 or 3 big giant fuses. One of those runs the fan up behind the fuse box. The little black box. Oh, this one's too far taken apart or not. Where is that at? This little guy here. If this is unplugged, the fan will run with AC on, but will not come on with the thermostat. A lot of guys don't know that. The fan is a crucial thing on these. And ISTA and all those programs don't like to tell you too much about it. So you're kind of on your own. But overall, that's not an expensive fix. They're about $100 for a new one, for a legit one. Next up, your throttle body boot. Your throttle body boot looks like that. Your car's probably not going to run too swift. Or if it looks like that and has black tape all over it, that's not going to run too swift. They had a rag stuck in the disc valve hole because it was stinking like engine, and it's inside, so we did that. Another thing is the idler pulleys. We have all new idler pulleys for this car. These aren't too bad, but they're kind of shady. Got new belts for it too. Also the water pump. This is a new water pump, and it's bad. As you can hear, the bearing's bad. That's another common failure. You have to get a legit water pump. The thermostat sensor usually fails on these, where it doesn't read correct on the dash, or it fails safe open. So the car runs too cold. Very rarely does the E39 ever have an issue with the thermostat actually failing and causing it to overheat. And all these videos will be coming up. I think maybe I'll do videos, maybe I won't. Valve cover likes to crack on these, especially on the 2001 and older M54 engines, M52 TU, and even the up to 1998 cars that had the M52, the single vanos. All those valve covers like to crack. Valve covers are expensive for this car. They're probably $250 to $350 for a valve cover for a new one, for a legit one. If they're not cracked, the gaskets like to leak, the coil packs like to go out. This particular one takes the push-in coil packs like the E90. You know, none of that stuff's really hard to fix, but it can run into some money. The next one up is the ABS module. A lot of times the exhaust manifold's right here, so it runs ABS module. It'll cause a trifecta of lights, ABS, traction control, and it could be several other versions of stuff on because of this. But now you can send those out to a company. It's like $100 to get yours rebuilt, so you don't have to reprogram it. You don't have to recode it to your car. That's the best way to go about that. Expansion tanks on E39s, you know, except from common belief, they don't really have too many problems with E39s. E46 is real bad about exploding. Usually the only ones I see that are ruptured on E39s are aftermarket. This one, of course, has the metal or the brass screw in it. That's an upgrade, I guess. They tend to be a tight fit, though. You know, in these cars, also the radiator, just like any other BMW, where it crimps on, likes to bust or like start leaking from the seam. Sometimes you can re-crimp the crimps on these. Sometimes you cannot. And it's always a good idea. You get an older E39 in to replace the hoses. These have been replaced. Maybe I should just replace them again just to make sure. But I mean, you're kind of throwing money at it at that point, right? Also, the CCV, which is this hose runs down to the CCV, which is oil separator. This one's been replaced. I won't know if the CCV is good. It looks new. We just need to start driving it and see if it's separating and see if it's working correctly. And then, of course, on these, the power steering tank, we bought all replacements for that. That's not an issue at all. And then, of course, this one didn't get left out of the mass airflow sensor. This one was bad on this car. We have a used OEM one here. You guys know you can't buy a Chinese version of that. Of course, you have the Vano seals, the Viton Vano seals. And of course, over here here's a big pile of parts. Holy crap, right? The throttle body boost, we got both of them in for this car. Other than that, the control arms on the E39 is probably more susceptible to go out than any other BMW. So it has a thrust arm set up like this. It has a ball joint here. Then it has a big bushing up there. In fact, I'll knock everything off here. Here's a brand new one. And while I'm taking the subframe out of this one, I thought, well, let's go and put brand new ones on. And these are just regular eBay ones. These aren't like anything crazy. We've had pretty good luck at these lasting. A lot of times it'll rip the bushing out of there. The ball joints on these cars rarely ever go bad. So yeah, and that brings me to the next thing, the rack and pinion. This one, that's why this subframe's down out of this. The rack and pinion is definitely toast in this one. It's leaking out the side seals. We're replacing that right now. But that's seems like that's mostly common on 02 and 03 cars for some reason. The last 2 years of this car are bad about rack and pinion leaking. It is above the subframe, unlike a bunch of the other BMWs, which is below the subframe. You can take it right out. I would say other than that, fuel pump wise, these cars don't have too much of a problem with the fuel pump. They can have sunroof issues with the drains. The drains from the sunroof run, come on, top plate for the MRE channel up here. The drains run back down through here. They could stop up and cause it to flood on the inside. And of course, the front ones run down through the A pillar and down and so forth. Which also makes the carpet wet if those back up and leak inside the car. These also have a lot of problems with window regulators. Window regulators and E39s goes hand in hand. It's probably one of the more, they're not hard to change. It's one of the more difficult ones to put in though. And then of course, when you go take the door panel off, the little foam piece inside, if you don't glue that back on, then water leaks over the ledge and floods your carpet, which in turn messes up the fuse box in the passenger side floor and rots it out, which is why the seat is out of this one. So you're saying, Nathan, you're going to tell me this car has a bad rack and pinion, it has the fuse box is running the floor, it needs a bunch of engine maintenance, it needs control arms, why don't you just scrap it? Well, Here's the situation with this car. This is a rare color. It's a really clean and straight car, other than a bunch of nonsense going on with it. E39s are getting more and more difficult to find, guys. It's a dying breed. They're going away quickly. These are going away more quickly right now than E46s by a long shot. These are good highway cars. They're nice and quiet, smooth. E46 is kind of a rougher, smaller car. I like the E90 versus E60. And there is a special place in my old man heart for E39 whenever I see one to rescue it. Like I said, this car, I bought this for $600. I have about $600 more in parts in it. And for $1,200 to have a nice, clean, low mileage for an E39, 150K, either we'll put it up for sale. I don't need two E39s, the E60 and the E90 and the Sequoia. I'm seeing other stuff I want to buy right away. I do love being able to fix cars up in here. One more thing I just thought of. The battery isn't hooked, but where the trunk wiring runs up over the hinge, it does like to break and crack the wires there, like most BMWs do. That's another issue that caused the backup or the license plate lights not to work, the handle not to work, all kinds of stuff like that. That's really about it. The seat back twists, which is why that seat is also up there on the workbench. That's easy to fix. I put a video up on that a few weeks ago. That seems like that's a terrible issue, but it's not really a terrible issue. It's actually easy to fix. That's pretty much it. I think that's the mostly common problems. Of course, there's all kinds of other issues that, you know, tiny issues. You could pick it apart. This video could be 4 hours long. I won't go through all that. As in general, the cooling, the fan, the coolant hoses, the water pump, the thermostat, those are the biggest things. The CCV is another one of the biggest things. Everything else is pretty minor. A lot of it's cosmetic stuff. I might make it idle a little bit rough, run a little bit weird, but it's not going to keep you from driving it. If you buy an E39, in conclusion here, if you buy an E39, no matter how perfect it is, no matter how perfect it looks, no matter how much you paid for it, when you get it, you need to go through this stuff. What I just covered in this video, you need to check all that stuff out. Because chances are somebody didn't do some of those things, or somebody didn't tend to any of those things. It doesn't matter how nice it looks. Some of the nicest cars I've ever seen had the worst engine problems. So that's gonna be it, guys, for this video. Hope this helps you out. Hopefully you E39 guys are about this video, and if you're looking to buy an E39, hopefully this helps you make the right decision. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.